The right gaming keyboard can be a key component to a player's setup. Some have features so powerful that it can get you banned in multiple games. With this fast-growing gaming keyboard revolution, it can be hard to keep up with what's considered the best. But I've got you, buddy. I've got 5 gaming keyboards to tell you about, and I have extensively tested each and every one of them. I'll explain what makes these keyboards the best individually, why you should buy them, but I'll also tell you which one is the best overall.
This first keyboard is one that I originally gave a lot of heavy criticism towards, as it massively pooped itself in the software department. But I'm happy to say that most of the issues that I experienced with the iQnix EZ63 keyboard have been fixed. This Hall Effect keyboard is one of the tightest designs that I've come across. It's available in a 60% or 63% layout. It's gasket mounted and made out of aluminium, and its interesting design also provides benefits. You can give the keyboard a pretty thorough clean by just removing one of the supporting walls on the side, so maintaining the keyboard will be rather easy. Even if you do a full teardown, there's very few parts that make up this keyboard, so it's very easy to do. It also sounds and feels great to type on, and it results in this being one of the most physically impressive small form factor gaming keyboards I've tried. But the lack of software functionality does hold this keyboard back a bit. I like having a typing and gaming profile on my Hall Effect keyboards. With this, I have to go into the software, turn on fixed actuation mode, and when I want to then play games, I have to go back into the software, go to Rapid Trigger, and then reset up my preferred bindings again. So for me, it's not great. It also doesn't support the more advanced Hall Effect features like dynamic keystroke, mod tap, or other cool features that get you banned from games like SOCD. For my personal use, it's just not that convenient.
If you're just going to set up a keyboard with Rapid Trigger and aren't bothered about the more advanced features, this is still a fantastic option.
The next keyboard is one that is on the more cheaper side, but what you get for the price is rather impressive, and there's various sizes to choose from, with there being a 60%, 65% and 75% versions. Drunk Deer have tried to create a rather easy to use layout with their web-based software, so applying your preferred settings is rather easy despite them dumping a load of numbers on you. There's also profiles in the software but not on the keyboard itself, so to swap profiles you go into the software and click on the one you want to swap to. You can also have quite a few of these. It doesn't support some of the more advanced features like dynamic keystroke, but I do believe some of the newer Drunk Deer keyboards like the G75 support things like SOCD and their version of SnapTap. They aren't the best quality keyboards available, but that is to be expected when you factor in the price. I have personally tried the A75, which was a pretty decent keyboard. However, I wouldn't recommend it now as it's not very repair friendly. Taking it apart is really hard and you can end up breaking the case. Their other keyboards I believe are tray mounted, so they should be easier to take apart if you do need to clean them or perform any repairs. This is a decent entry-level Hall Effect keyboard for those that don't want to spend a lot of money but want to make sure they're going to get something of value that has had some effort put into it. For the next keyboard, we have one of the bigger keyboard manufacturers. Keychron are known to make very thick keyboards for those that want custom keyboard quality without spending the custom keyboard money, but you kind of do still need to have to spend the money. Anyway, the Q1HE has all of the marks of a high quality keyboard. It's fully aluminium, gasket mounted, dampening foams coming out the ears, and a knob. This thing is an absolute tank. It weighs around like 1.6 kilograms. You can also take this thing apart. It can get a bit fiddly and time consuming, but you can do it. They even give you the tools to do so and some spare parts as well. The build quality makes this one of the nicer Hall Effect keyboards to type on and play with. The software in this one is actually one of the better ones. We are again presented with web-based software, but the UI is rather mediocre. The Q1HE does support things like DKS, long press switch, and controller input as well, but it lacks the fresh and cool features like SOCD and SnapTap. Since my review, this keyboard now supports up to 3 onboard profiles. The only issue here though is that RGB isn't associated with each profile, so you don't really get a good indication on what profile you're currently on, but it's still an improvement.
If you're wanting a high quality Hall Effect keyboard, this is one of the better options available. It's also wireless and has a knob so it's fair to say it's one of the most feature-complete options on this list. Now it's time for a surprise inclusion to this list. I wasn't expecting much when I got this, but I have been blown away by this keyboard. There's so many functions on this keyboard that are amazing, especially for me. There is an asterisk with the Asus ROG Falchion HFX. As it's an Asus ROG product, you might need to use Armoury Crate. And this is where a bit of a self-burn comes in from Asus. They're clearly aware of how garbage their software is because they provide so much on-keyboard functionality that you may not even need to use Armoury Crate. But if you do, may God have mercy on your soul. On the keyboard there's a touch bar at the top, and this can be used to change the brightness of the LEDs, increase or decrease the volume, and control the current playing media. But that's not all. You can also adjust the actuation point of the switches, including being able to do them individually, and it's actually intuitive. You are restricted to just 0.5 increments though. There's also a switch that toggles rapid trigger. Again, there's limitations here as well, as rapid trigger is only set on WAS and D by default. If you want it enabled on other keys, you do have to use Armoury Crate. And finally, it also has SOCD or null movement on the A and D keys, which can be enabled by pressing FN and Tab.
You can set up so much without having to use any software at all. It's actually really cool. Not only that, this keyboard also feels great to type on. It feels really high quality. It has like 5 layers of dampening foam and a gasket mount, and I'll have to take their word for it because I do not want to take this apart at all. There is no way that top bar is going to come apart easily. Despite that, this keyboard is going to be easy to do a basic clean as the casing sits around the top plate and there's very few gaps for dirt to get in. However, this is probably not going to be repairable at all. For anyone that is wanting a more plug and play experience without all the annoying fuss that comes with software and want a keyboard that will be easy to use and feels great, this is one of the best choices. And I can't believe that. But now we get to the big boy, the gaming keyboard that changed everything. Routing has been a key contributor to the popularity of Hall Effect keyboards, and has shown what's possible when you spend a bit of time making sure your software is actually functional. The 60HE and the 80HE do have their flaws when it comes to physical components, as when compared to the competition, the typing experience and the quality of the cases do get heavily exposed. If you use a very high quality keyboard, you'll look at this and wonder what all the fuss is about. Well, these keyboards really set themselves apart when it comes to the software. Because Routility is so easy to use, you're encouraged to find a tailor-made setup that suits you. There's a web-based version and a standalone program as well, and with Routility V5 it's just getting even better. But as I said, the quality could be better. But to me, the potential of a Hall Effect keyboard is wasted if you don't feel encouraged to make changes and customize your setup. And Wooting is just the best at making the process of doing so incredibly easy. Another great thing about Wooting keyboards is that you get a 4-year warranty. This is a great keyboard for those that want something that is going to be reliable and easy to use. I do think that this keyboard is worth the money when you factor in all the benefits. Having said that, I think all the keyboards I've mentioned in this video are worth the money that they ask for, and they all have their own benefits. Some feel better to type on, some are cheaper, others are higher quality than others. It mainly depends on what you value the most from a Hall Effect keyboard. Now, which one do I think is best? This decision was actually a lot harder than I originally thought, and that's because of, incredibly, the Asus ROG Falchion HFX. I might have to do a full review of it at some point, but this keyboard really did push the actual best keyboard, which is, unsurprisingly, the 80HE. I think for me, the 80HE provides the best consumer experience from software to quality, even though it's not its strongest point, and with the 4-year warranty, you're going to be safe knowing that you have a product that is going to be covered for a long time, and when you pay a lot of money for it, you really do want that extended warranty. To be honest though, every gaming keyboard I've mentioned in this video is pretty great in its own way, and the varied competition only benefits you, the consumer. But now you've got your gaming keyboard, it's time to look for a mouse, and there's a video on screen now that's going to help you with that.